welcome to the La Mesa-Foothills Democratic Club. Hopefully you're all feeling okay. This is a smaller room. This is half the room that we normally use. Is it feeling crowded or do we feel just cozy? Cozy. Okay. The only person that spoke was Steve. By the way, let's give a shout out to Richie, who did all our food for us tonight. And also thanks to Mitch, who will be recording tonight. All our meetings are recorded. And if you have somebody that could not make it tonight, encourage them to find this meeting on our YouTube channel. And we have all our meetings recorded so that you can find all of them. Tonight, we're going to do a few things. First of all, how many of you live in the city of La Mesa? Oh wow, lots and lots and lots. Okay, this tonight is for you specifically. We're going to be hearing from our La Mesa candidates, and we're going to be working on Go Team. Anybody still not know what Go Team is? Okay, this part make it really quick. Does everybody, if you have signed up for Go Team and have your have minivan on your phone, raise your hand. Okay, how many don't know what I mean by minivan other than a larger car? Okay, so if you look on your agenda, this is what the minivan app looks like. This little blue rectangle with a white dots in it. And I am so behind, I'm so backwards, I'm sorry, apologize. We're gonna invite Bridger Langford to the stage to begin us right with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Good evening, everybody.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bridger's here from Mike Schaefer's campaign, so thank you. Welcome. Sorry, going back to what I was talking about. If you have a phone that can get apps, please download the minivan app to your phone. It does take a little bit of hokey pokey, and you put in a code and then it sends you a code to your text and you have to put that code in and all that kind of stuff. Susie Rubin, right there, is kind of an expert at minivans, so if you have any questions, now is the time to bring it up because we want you all to have this app on your phone before it's time to start walking next month. If you've used minivan like way long ago, more than a year ago, it's probably an old version. We want minivan 9. And once you get to minivan, it's gonna say, give us a list, which you don't have your list number yet. But then if you press for more information, there's a very informative little video that will play to kind of tell you how to do it. If you've walked with a paper list, you can walk with minivan. It's pretty much exactly the same. The one thing I will tell you is that to make use of your time and organize, figure out where you're going and which street you're gonna do first and orders and stuff. Also, when you go to a door, and most of them are not gonna come to the door. Just don't take it personally. They just don't. They don't answer their door. So if somebody does not come to the door and you hear them talking and you know they're home, but they're just saying they're not home, just mark them not home and mark that the whole house is not home. Otherwise, other people in that house are gonna keep popping up on your list and making you crazy. Also, the burning question is do not disturb, or no soliciting signs. Everybody's got a different philosophy on that, and I'm sure in this room we will find 10 different people that will tell us 10 different Supreme Court rulings that said that what we do is not solicitation, it is political free speech, but it will still irritate people. So generally what I do, if I know they're a really good Dem, I will just leave the door hanger and not knock, and maybe call them later on, because people just don't want their door knocked. So if anybody else has any other ideas about how they handle no solicitation signs. I was walking last weekend and there was like no solicitations, no exceptions. It's like, if they're that militant about it, really don't like them. But that, you know, I went through a whole, like, mobile home park and just left door hangers and didn't knock. Does anybody else have any other questions about minivan? Now is the time to get it on your phone and talk to Susie. Oh, yes, Richie. Yes, it is illegal to put a door hanger in a mailbox. I was walking a couple years ago and an older man said, will you get my mail for me? And I said, okay, you want me to get your mail. I just want to be very clear that I'm not committing a federal crime. I do not have jail smarts. I don't. I just won't do well. So, yeah, of course I did it for him, but yeah. So, there's very specific rules about where you can and cannot leave things. And we don't want to give the impression that we're rude. So, just, you know, when somebody is not pleasant to you, smile and say thank you, have a nice day, and move on. You can write whatever comments you want on the list, and I do, if someone's really rude, because you don't want to go back to them. And so, or I'm a Republican, I'm like, okay, well, have a nice day. So it was pretty funny at the last time I walked, I have to tell you. There were a couple men, and it was the wife that was the Democrat, but the man answered the door. And I said, I just want to make sure that you're going to vote. He's like, oh yes, I'm going to vote. Like I'm supposed to be scared or something, I don't know. It was hilarious. So I just went, okay, great, have a nice day. So I think he was expecting me to cower in fear. So please use Susie if you have a question about minivan and getting it on your phone tonight. I think the Wi-Fi is fairly decent in here. But now we're going to, and I'm always available if you have a question about Go Team. My email, see, I left lots of empty space on the agendas so that people can write things. You can write the name of your favorite candidate that you just met tonight. My email is treehugger, TREEHUGGER 1309 @yahoo.com. If you have a question. This is what happens when you let your 14-year-old son pick your email address. So right now we're going to hear from Steve Hishonk, who's going to talk about Oktoberfest. Thank you.
Oktoberfest, wow. I can't use mics, I'll break them. Oktoberfest, we need your help. Oktoberfest is Friday, September 30th, Saturday, October 1st, Sunday, October 2nd. We're down about, we need about 18 more people. A lot of fun. Now here's the wrinkle. We know this is a election year, midterm elections, right? We know the right is out, the wrong right side, the GOP. And we know what they think the state of play is. There's a lot of folks in this area, East County, whatnot. They don't like what we're doing. We need you to help us talk to people about why you like being a Democrat. Voter registration, if folks come by, and they usually do, by law, we must register everyone, of course. Republican, Democrat, no party preference, whoever it is. So we do that, and we do that happily. Sometimes I say, you know, we're doing this for you, and it's no problem, but we like you coming here, and you haven't gone to the other side. The GOP is always way on the west side. Okay, speaking of which, our booth. Everyone always asks, which is a good question, where will our booth be? We don't know. We never know until the day before, the day of. But I know where it will be near. If you're familiar with La Mesa, it's always on the east side, far on the east side of La Mesa Boulevard, intersection of La Mesa Boulevard, 4th Street, and Allison Avenue. It's always in that area. Same place it was last year, year before, roughly, near where the rides are, right? And there's a big food court there. That's always where we are. You can't miss us. Our booth is not called anything, but who will be there? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, live side. You'll see them. They'll be there right in the front of our booth. So please come. But again, That's about it. It is a lot of fun. Bring your wife, husband, kids, whoever. You know, you meet and greet people. We try to get people to join the club. We try real hard. Sometimes they say they will, but you know how people are sometimes. But this is a really important year for folks like Matt, folks like Arnie Levine, local candidates, and Debbie Justesen, and the not so local candidates. We hope to have a whole bunch of candidates there all 3 days handing out literature, and we'll do that too. And we'll talk to them about what it's like to be a Democrat. So I'll be right over there to sign you up. Let me have your name and your number too. Thank you.
And please also, now is a good time to go to the back and see lovely Jean and Brenda and buy 50-50 tickets, because you cannot win if you do not play. Money is split between the winner and the club. Look at lovely Brenda waving the tickets. Isn't she lovely? Okay. Very important announcement. Next month's meeting has been changed. It is not going to be on the first Wednesday of the month. It will be on the first Thursday of the month. The first Wednesday of the month is Yom Kippur, and so we were going to have our meeting on Thursday. Just this one time. We hardly ever change our meetings. We always meet on the first Wednesday. This is one of the very few exceptions. And with that, and then by November, we'll go back to the first Wednesday. I'm going to call up our speakers in the order that they appeared at our meeting, as best I was paying attention. So our first speaker is going to be Matt Strabone. Matt is running for La Mesa Treasurer. How many of you a year ago didn't know that we voted for Treasurer? I didn't know that. You know why we didn't vote? Because we never had a good candidate. So this year we finally do. So yes, this is something you can run for, and this is something we can vote for. So let's hear it for Matt.
Thank you, Tina, for that stirring intro as always. Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Strabone, and I'm actually your endorsed candidate for La Mesa City Treasurer. And there's a lot to talk about, but let me start with this. I have a question to ask you this evening. What if I told you that we could raise more money for La Mesa, and I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars more every year, without raising taxes a single cent, and without cutting a single service? That would be pretty great, right? Yes, we should clap that. Just imagine what La Mesa could do with a few $100,000 extra every year. Actually, why don't we imagine it right now? Call it out. What would you do if La Mesa had like $500,000 extra every year? What should we spend it on?
Streets.
Streets?
Sidewalks.
Sidewalks, yes, good one. Parks?
Library.
Library, that's a big one. All excellent answers. All excellent answers. Now, what if I told you La Mesa already had the means and resources to raise that money and do all of those things? Let me get to the point here. La Mesa right now has a rainy day fund that's worth about $60 million. Actually, more than 60 right now. That is a lot of money. But that money doesn't just sit there and gather dust. Nope. Every last one of those dollars is supposed to get invested in order to generate more money for the city. And that's pretty great, right? Our money is making money. But there is a problem, and this is why I'm standing in front of you here this evening. Right now, La Mesa is getting less than 1% back on that money. That's pretty bad. Even if we just bought U.S. Treasury bonds right now are offering a 3% return. So how are we getting less than 1% on our money? It's the city treasurer's job to invest that money. And if we just take the time and care to invest those funds wisely, we will earn a lot more than we are right now. I have a clear, well-researched, prudent, and safe plan to do exactly that. And that's why I'm running for La Mesa City Treasurer, because La Mesa deserves more. You all deserve more. All those things you mentioned, we deserve to have them. So I think it's a pretty clear choice, but I haven't even gotten into the dynamics of my particular race. So if you'll indulge me, I'm going to do that right now. There are two candidates running. I'm the Democrat. My opponent is the Republican. I'm the only candidate in the race to be certified by the California Municipal Treasurers Association. Thank you. I agree. My opponent is the only candidate in the race to have donated thousands of dollars to Donald Trump. And Ted Cruz. And Mitch McConnell. Of all people to give money to, my goodness. All right, now, I'll also mention that I'm the only candidate in the race who's endorsed by the La Mesa Firefighters Association and of all the fine local and federal and state elected officials in the region that you like Jack Shue, who's here today, Colin Parent, Sarah Jacobs, Tony Atkins, you name it, they're all supporting me with good reason. My opponent is the only candidate in the race who's being supported by a man named Carl DeMaio. So, I don't know. It seems like a clear choice to me. I've left my cards on each of your table. It's the blue one. I think the face looks like me. Tell me if it doesn't. Finally, I'll leave you with this. This race is going to be conducted entirely by mail, like all elections are these days. And have you heard the joke about the unstamped mail? You wouldn't get it.
Terrible.
You're right. I'm Matt Strabone. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my unofficial rule for candidates or electeds that want to talk is first you say your name, what you're running for, and end with your name and what you're running for. That's just, for me, I think that helps people.
Yes.
Our next, and by the way, yes, all of our candidates that we're going to hear from tonight are running against the Carl DeMaio selected candidate. All of them. Carl DeMaio is just going really deep into La Mesa trying to beat us and trying to win back all these seats that we won back from them. Our next speaker will be Mejgan Afshan. She's running for La Mesa City Council.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? No, I want to hear some more energy. Good evening, everybody. How are you, Democrats? Awesome. Now I have to follow up Matt with that awesome stand-up routine. We didn't know he did comedy on the side. My name is Mejgan Afshan, and I am running for La Mesa City Council. And I am a 31-year resident of La Mesa. I grew up in La Mesa. I went to La Mesa Middle School, La Mesa Middle School, Helix High School, Grossmont College, and I transferred to San Francisco State, where I began interning in my final senior year with then Mayor Gavin Newsom, and was also ended up working for Nancy Pelosi when she became Speaker of the House. And I say that to say my roots are deep, and as a Democrat, my commitment and lived values really shows what we can do in La Mesa. As Matt said, as Tina said, we have Carl DeMaio right here in our neighborhood trying to support a candidate who could possibly win if we're not able to really get on the same page. And so last year, I was so thankful to have the support and endorsement of this club. This year, I have the support and endorsement of the San Diego County Labor Council, as well as the San Diego County Democratic Party. And I'm so thankful to everybody who has supported our campaign and continues to support our all grassroots that's my other job, all grassroots volunteer campaign. And our goal is to run and raise $50,000 this year, and we'd like to be able to continue to focus on the issues. One of them being houselessness here in our community, making sure we fulfill our climate action plan, and making sure we do right by our community members who are struggling, even still amidst this pandemic, to provide equitable policy change and equitable access to resources available in our community. As Matt said, I am going to piggyback off of your points, there's so much funding from the federal and state governments that could possibly go towards our community here in La Mesa. But if there isn't somebody there to be able to deliver that message and to show up and make sure we stand for something in La Mesa, we won't be able to deliver that funding towards the programs we can expand. Programs like the HOME program and increasing the mental health support services available to community members here in San Diego, here in La Mesa, and San Diego County. We would love folks to come out and support us please visit our website at votemejgan.com. On your tables are some stickers with my name on it, Mejgan. It looks like Megan, but it's not. And I would love to be able to speak with you, and I urge you to please join our All Grassroots campaign because we need as much support as possible. It is critical in this race that we close ranks and we're able to push the two candidates that can be able to receive the most amount of votes. What we did last year was incredible, but it wasn't good enough because, again, Laurel Lothian won. And since Laurel Lothian won, we know that Marjorie Taylor Greene, a person that everybody is, y'all know, y'all already know. We need to be able to make sure she doesn't win again. And we want to make sure we do things right. So please vote the slate, please support our campaign, and please come up and speak to me tonight if you have a chance. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Rebecca MacRae, who is currently on the school board president of the Mesa-Spring Valley School Board. We got her elected 2 years ago or 4 years ago, and we're going to re-elect her.
You guys are good at speaking. It's been a very long time since I've been in front of a microphone in front of people. So I'm just going to picture you with little. I'm going to picture you all with little squares around, like I'm on Zoom, so it's not as much nerves. My name is Rebecca MacRae. I'm running for the Mesa-Spring Valley School Board, and it's Area 2, so they've now been restricted into trustee areas. I'm currently the school board president, and this is my second year as school board president. I did not know when I ran 4 years ago that I would be making decisions during a global pandemic about the education of an entire district. So it has been a trying 4 years, but my Facebook algorithm does a very great job of showing me school board meetings from across the country. And as I see that, I'm just thinking, I need to run again. I need to do this again. It was hard, but I'm stronger because of it. And if I don't, then who will? And then what could happen in our school board meetings and to decisions being made in schools. I just read today a district in Texas last night made the school board passed an agenda item where the teachers do not have to refer to children by their preferred pronouns. And that happened last night in Texas. So those are things that make me say, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this for the community. I'm gonna do this for the kids because I can't have districts where my kids attend be passing things like that. So I look forward to doing this. I look forward to your support. Thank you. And let's go get Rebecca MacRae for the Mesa-Spring Valley School Board, Area 2.
Hi, as you can see, we've got candidates all over the place. We've got school boards, city councils. I'm putting everybody in the order that they arrived at the meeting. So that's the method to my madness. Our next speaker is Andrea Beth Damsky, who's running for Helix Water Board.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Beth Damsky, candidate for Helix Water District in Division 2. Speak softly and carry a big sign. That said, my yard signs are in, and one of the most common questions I'm asked is, I live in La Mesa, can I vote for you? And it depends where in La Mesa you live. There are 5 divisions in the Helix Water District Board. 2 of them are up for election this year, Division 2 and Division 4. Division 4 is uncontested, so it won't even be on the ballot. Division 2 is northwest La Mesa heading east towards central El Cajon. The incumbent candidate, who I thought I'd be running against, did not file to run again, so I'm running against a new Republican. Has the endorsement of his party. He is thank you. He is a recently retired auto shop teacher from Grossmont High, and there's no presence for him on the web at all. No website, no Facebook campaign page, no nothing. So it's a little hard to find information about him. I'm running as an environmental champion who's been serving on La Mesa's Environmental Sustainability Commission for the last 5 years, with the last 3 years as its chair. I'm running because of the drought. I'm running because our water rates need to be fair. Water rates are going to keep increasing because water is becoming more scarce, but I want to make sure that our rates are fair and transparent. And I want to also make sure that we move our meetings from middle of the afternoon to evenings for transparency for our voters. So that's a little bit about me. Folks, if you want to know if you can vote for me, I can look you up on Vote Builder right here tonight, so you can come and see me at the table. I'll look you up. Thanks so much. Andrea, Beth, Damsky.com. Yes, Water District Division 2. Oh, and yes, and those door hangers on the table are mine. Those are the things with the holes in them.
How many of you remember back in the day when like the whole county, we'd have like one Democrat running and we would all get super excited about that. We have so much wealth, embarrassment of riches in these candidates. Our next speaker will be Patricia Dillard, who's a candidate for the La Mesa City Council.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Well, I'm Patricia Dillard, and I'm running for La Mesa City Council. I'm running because I know that I can help La Mesa. I got asked to run for La Mesa City Council by Dr. Janet Castaños. We were out walking one day, and she brought it up. I was surprised because I thought, why do you want me to run for City Council? I'm not a politician. And she responded, yes, my point exactly. I explained that I needed to think about it, spend time with my family and my husband. And as time went by, suddenly Dr. Akilah Weber won her run for assembly member of the 79th District. And an amazing accomplishment, I have to admit. And then she called me out of the blue and said, and I quote, "My phone is blowing up," unquote. They are all asking me, who do I want to replace me on La Mesa City Council? So I'm just checking in with you to see if you were planning on running. I was surprised and stunned, as well as honored that she thought of me. She then went on to tell me that if I decided to run, she will endorse me. I questioned her by saying, but I don't have any experience in city affairs. She stated unequivocally, yes you do. You're on the Community Police Oversight Board. And I serve as the vice chair. Dr. Janet Castaños and Dr. Akilah Weber reminded me just how passionate I am about fair treatment and equal job access, which is why I am a huge supporter of unions and understanding the importance of equal pay and working wages for all. Dr. Akilah Weber was the #1 city council member who pushed hard for the Community Police Oversight Board, which is where I have worked countless hours with hard work and dedication to help protect our Black and brown community from police brutality, excessive force, and racial profiling. To me, I was simply helping my community, being a person who can sympathize and empathize to help protect the most vulnerable people who live in La Mesa. But Dr. Castaños and Dr. Weber soon helped me realize it meant much more than that. Our efforts allowed us to go forward and write the ordinances for the CPOB, Community Police Oversight Board, and helped me hire the independent police officer. I helped the independent police officer hire the independent police officer for the CPOB. And we worked hard to stay on top of any issues regarding criminal offenses by the La Mesa Police Department. We have also worked extensively with the Chief of Police Raymond Sweeney to install preventive measures of past offenses so that it never happens again in La Mesa. I'm also the co-chair for the La Mesa Juneteenth and Friends annual event. When we did the inaugural this year, we were hoping to get at least 250 people, but ultimately we ended up with almost 1,500 people in attendance of our first inaugural, our very first Juneteenth. Very proud of that. I remember walking around in the park when it was going on saying, it's a miracle. I couldn't believe it, but you know what? Because of the incredible work of over 40 volunteers, some of which are in this room, we got Jack Shue, who was with us, let me tell you, he was with us like way before I got there and stayed until the very end to support us. Our council member, Jack Shue. We have other volunteers that are in this room, and their passion showed out that day, and I'm very proud of that accomplishment. As a future council member, I also want to talk to you about the things that I want to do for La Mesa, in short. In alignment with Dr. Akilah Weber's support for 100% clean, renewable, and sustainable energy, I want to continue to ensure we have clean air, clean public spaces and parks, and ways to acquire more sustainable energy for charging stations, walkable communities, and a safe environment. I also plan to bring the same sense of professionalism to City Council, and I will continue open communications with our businesses and residents to stay connected to their concerns and continue to solve their challenges in our city. I want to thank the Democratic Party, Dr. Castaños, and Dr. Akilah Weber, as well as the La Mesa-Foothills Democratic Club, who has had unwavering support for me. And thank you to all the people who have endorsed throughout the city, and mostly I want to thank my loving husband, children, and grandchildren. I'm Patricia Dillard, and I'm running for La Mesa City Council. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kathleen Brand, who's running for La Mesa City Council.
I'm Kathleen Brand, running for La Mesa City Council. I want you to tell you that when I learned last time around what it takes to run a campaign, I definitely have had to learn a lot. So this time around, when I filled out that little questionnaire from the Democratic Party that said, do you agree with these platforms issues? I could say wholeheartedly, with my whole heart, that I am a Democrat. I have been a Democrat all my life. I have never been a member of another party. I love this community. I still believe that I am the best candidate for La Mesa as a city planner and a landscape architect who has chose this city 21 years ago with my husband and child to live here out of all other places in the city of La Mesa, in the county of San Diego. We have established ourselves here, and we have been working in this community for those 21 years. I am not a politician. I don't run with the party, and I'm not known by the party. And because of that, I feel I have a disadvantage. So I am leading the race, and I want you to consider me in 2 years, but I want you to know that I still am a very qualified candidate. And I did my due diligence prior to this election to make sure that we did not have 3 candidates. But with that, I say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. We will see you very shortly, okay?
Yes.
Wow, you heard it at the La Mesa Foothills Dem Club. I'm very proud of all of our candidates, and God knows I don't have the guts to do it myself, so Our next speaker is going to be Debbie Justesen, who's the current president of the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College Board and wants to rerun and win her seat back.
Thank you. I'm Debbie Justesen. I'm the current president for the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College Board of Trustees. Area 2, that's the entire city of La Mesa, so if you live in La Mesa, you can vote for me. We have lived in La Mesa since July 1st, 1999. My children went to the Mesa-Spring Valley schools and graduated from Helix High School. My husband actually grew up in La Mesa, went through school, anyways, he graduated from Helix High School as well. Yes. And so my husband teaches music over at Lakeside Middle School, and so we are quite founded here in La Mesa. My in-laws have been living here since 1970, so we've been here for quite a while. I spent 35 years in education. I've taught every grade level from preschool to university level classes. And so I have a pretty good perspective of what education is like, being in the classroom, being with students, etc. And when I was elected in 2010 to be on the college board, this has really given me a perspective in regards to the administration and the operations of an entire district, which includes 2 colleges. So I believe that I have a pretty good understanding now, after 3 terms, I should, of how a large district such as ours runs. I believe that education is a key out of poverty and a path towards a richer and a brighter future, which is why I am running to win back my seat again for this term. The community colleges, I think, is the golden secret of our nation. We accept students from all ages and every walks of life. We have classes for students who want to go into higher education and pursue a 4-year degree. We have classes for career enhancement, or if someone is looking to change careers. And most adults will change careers 2 or 3 times in their lifetime. So community colleges is a really great place to go to do that. And also we have classes for self-enhancement. We embrace anyone who has the desire to learn and to enhance their lives in any which way that they see. My goals in being a trustee is to continue to keep the district financially sound. We have had clean audits ever since I have been elected in 2010. I want to continue to promote programs that support student success and to ensure that our colleges remain affordable to all, including our veterans. We have a huge commitment in our district, along with our new chancellor, in diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And we really believe that having an emphasis in that provides accessibility to education for all. And so we're really proud to have a commitment in that. During my past terms, we hired our current chancellor, who is a wonderful person. I hope sometime that when you hear about her, she and the board, we really work well together to continue moving our district forward. We have created the East County Education Alliance, which we are partnering now with Grossmont Union High School District and Mountain Empire School Districts. And we are now having dual enrollment classes in our Grossmont Union High School District, which is incredible. Our high school students will be able to take college-level classes on campus at their high school. Yeah, thank you. This is huge. I'm really, really excited about it. Through Prop R and Prop V, and thank you to all the taxpayers in our communities for those profit props, we were able to create a performing arts center. If you haven't been to Grossmont College to see some of our even Cuyamaca College for their beautiful campuses, we have a new performing arts center, which is gorgeous. I hope you get to come and see a performance there sometime. We have a new veteran center where that can be accessible. Just the front door is just accessible right from the pathway versus having to go through a building. We have a new career tech complex. And then at Cuyamaca College, as some of you might know, they're known for their ornamental horticulture complex and their program. We have did a renovation of our exercise science building. We did a track enhancement, and we also have a brand new student services building, which should be open, if not now, within the next 2 months. So I'll find out next week. And so we've done some beautiful things. In the future, we would like to go. We'd like to go out for another proposition. And one thing to continue to think about is, as we go to the future, we want to also enhance our campuses. So if not for building more buildings, because now we are having students on campus as well as online, virtual, we do need to upgrade our classrooms to be more accessible for virtual learning, so that we can have high flex, or some of you might be more familiar with the hybrid classrooms, where the classrooms can be projected online so that the students can be at home while the classes are going on, so that they can actually attend class. And so it would be more accessible to more people. So if in the future we go out for another bond, we'll talk more about it then, but please keep that in mind as well. I've been endorsed by you folks, so thank you so much. I really and truly appreciate that. I've also been endorsed by the American Federation of Teachers, the San Diego Labor Council, the San Diego Democratic Central Committee, the Lemon-Grove-Spring Valley Democratic Club, East County Democratic Club, Run Women Run, the Mesa City Council members Jack Shu and Colin Parent. Thank you so much. And some of the current board members, and also just recently the San Diego Democratic Education Alliance. So thank you so much, and I hope you get to vote for me in November. Oh, and I'm Debbie Justesen, running for Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College District, Area 2. Woo!
Our next speaker is Brianna Coston, who's running for I'm doing it wrong. Mesa-Spring Valley School Board. This week we will have a full slate, kids. We will have a full slate of all Democrats to run. Yeah. Caitlin, raise your hand. Okay, go be next.
Good evening, everyone. As mentioned, I am Brianna Coston, and I am running for La Mesa-Spring Valley School Board in Trustee Area 3. I grew up going to La Mesa-Spring Valley schools. I went to La Mesa Dale Elementary and then Spring Valley Middle, or Spring Valley Academy as it's now called. My siblings also went to school in the district, and my mom is now an educator at Kempton Elementary School in the district. So I'm running because I really care about the district. Like I said, I went to schools in the district, and I feel like all schools in the district should be good quality schools for kids in our community to go to. There should be a difference in good schools or bad schools in the same district, and we need to be striving towards more equity across our various campuses. When I was going to school in the district, I remember hearing conversations other parents had with my parents, because I went to La Mesa Dale and Spring Valley Middle, that asking, especially at Spring Valley Middle, asking why my parents weren't choosing to send their kids to better schools in the district, like Parkway. And this happened even more when my middle sibling went to Spring Valley Middle after going to Murdoch. And conversations like those, and that really needing that equity across the campuses, is one of the big reasons I'm running to represent Trustee Area 3. Like I mentioned, my two younger siblings also attended La Mesa-Spring Valley schools, and I saw, as they went through the school district, I saw how the district's priorities began to change. After-school clubs began to be cut, and gun violence on campus, or the threat of gun violence on campus, became more frequent. As the cisgender straight sister of two siblings in the LGBTQIA community, I've seen the inequities that students in that community face on La Mesa-Spring Valley campuses, whether it be from bullying from other students, other teachers, or even the lack of inclusive family health curriculum. I think that it's really important that all students on these campuses feel safe and secure on the campuses. All students should be able to learn who they are and grow into their truest selves on campus. The recent Supreme Court decisions about concealed carry weapons, women's reproductive rights, and women's reproductive rights have made it clear that there's a nationwide attack on our freedoms and safety. And if I'm elected to represent Trustee Area 3, I want to use my voice to support students in feeling heard on their campuses, and teachers in feeling heard on their campuses. I've spoken to multiple people that have said that there are even some teachers on the campuses that don't feel comfortable coming out on campus, and that's absolutely, you know, unacceptable. It is very devastating. Kids are the future, and their first and foremost priority in school should be learning, and we need to be doing everything for teachers to make sure that they have all of the resources they have to be teaching. So it is La Mesa-Spring Valley School District's duty to their educators and students alike to retain quality teachers and have an adequate substitute teaching pool. Right now, they're also going through a paraprofessional shortage, and so we really need to be able to hire good quality, you know, professionals in all of these for all of these roles to help you know, the burnt out teachers and paraprofessionals catch their breath. I currently serve as the Vice Chair of the La Mesa Planning Commission, and I'm sorry I was a little late today because I literally ran here from a Planning Commission meeting. But I think I've thoroughly enjoyed the Planning Commission because it's given me an opportunity to work with city staff, and I think that that's something that on school board is going to be really important as well, because it's important to listen to the district staff and the teachers and you know, staff at our school districts or at our different school campuses to see how policies that are going to be implemented at the district level are going to affect each campus individually. I am up against a Carl DeMaio and Reform California backed Republican, and I'm going to need all of the support that I can get to defeat him this November. But it's not just me. We have 3 candidates running for the 3 seats, and we are running as a slate, so hopefully we can all get elected to La Mesa-Spring Valley School Board and re-elected. Yeah, so then let's see, I have gotten the support from this lovely club already, as well as the county party. I have been endorsed by council members Jack Shue and Colin Parent. The current incumbent, Sharday Bell, is not running for re-election, and she has endorsed my campaign. The San Diego Democratic Education Alliance has endorsed my campaign, as well as Congressman Scott Peters and Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs, as well as Nathan Fletcher, Chair Nathan Fletcher of the Board of Supervisors. And there's various other organizations that have endorsed my campaign, and you can see all of that on my website at www.briannacoston.com. And I hope that you guys can continue to support me. The 3 of us are going to be starting to walk, and we need volunteers. I know it's hot right now, but we are going to try and walk in the mornings when it's cooler, and yeah, so we need definitely volunteers for that. And I have yard signs. We are working on getting these other 2 lovely women yard signs as well. And yeah, so thank you so much. Again, Brianna Coston, Mesa-Spring Valley School Board area.
And last but not least, we have our 3rd candidate running as a team with the other ladies of the Spring Valley, Lemon Grove Spring Valley School Board. La Mesa Spring Valley School Board. I swear, one of these days I will get it right. Caitlin and Tiffany. Woo!
I'm just going to go into professor mode right now because I can see the jitters, so I'm going to go real fast. So my name is Kathleen Tiffany, and I am running in Area 1 for La Mesa-Spring Valley School Board. As you can tell, I'm an educator. I care deeply about education. I am an assistant professor at San Diego Mesa College, and I also assistant coach the dance team at Santana High School. So education is my life. I really care about that, but I also really care deeply about the community that I live in. I currently serve on the La Mesa Community Police Oversight Board, and so I really just wanted to get involved and do more for my community, and education is my wheelhouse. So I believe that I can bring my experience to help out. As we know, school boards are under attack by the Republican Party, and we need to make sure that our school boards aren't going backwards, that we don't have school districts taking education back in time. We need to bring education into the future. So I hope that I can get your support, as Brianna was saying, that Rebecca and Brianna and I will be going out walking and knocking on doors and making calls, and so any support that you can give us would be wonderful. My name is Tiffany, and I'm running for the Mesa-Spring Valley School Board. Thank you.
Just think how sweet it will be the day after Election Day when Carl DeBio is crying into his Cheerios because we've taken the table. I think we can get out your brooms, people. It's time for sweeping. Please, there's leftover food, but we have a few more announcements. If you want to make an announcement and you haven't spoken yet tonight, please line up over here to my right, and we will give these. Everybody you heard from so far is running in La Mesa, and if you're a La Mesa resident, you should vote for all of them. And if you're a La Mesa resident also, or not, you should want to walk for all of them. So please find me if you would like to volunteer to be a part of the Go Team. We can train you, give you everything you need in order to succeed so that you can help these candidates get elected. Thank you. Our first speaker is Arnie Levine, who is running for El Cajon Mayor.
Right. Hi, everybody. This is the best looking audience I have seen all day. You're actually the first, but anyway, it's an honor to be able to speak in front of the Democratic volunteers and people that are running for office. This is the first time I've ever ran for office. I did volunteer back in the day to get the 18-year-old vote. Which we only had in those days, the 20, they'd be 21, but they were going to Vietnam, so we changed that. So running for mayor is an opportunity to be able to do a project that I have a vision for, which is a hybrid called the Homeless Project, and we're going to make a project that's going to go from the model city of El Cajon to every city throughout California. My intention is to work with the governor and be able to work with all the other mayors so we have a standard to be able to support what works throughout California. And hopefully that'll go through the rest of the country. I've been a broker and worked in affordable housing, so I could see the vision, and I had people coming to me when I was working affordable housing, thanking me for trying to help them to find housing, from finances to medical disabilities. It's across the board. It got my heart to cry inside, where I want to make a difference. I have an engineering background, and all I'm going to do is change to what worked. We didn't have homeless in the 70s. In the 80s, it started because they cut back on the most important community programs, which my intention is to get it back on the board again. And I will continue to do this within a 2-year period. The only way I could get elected right now is to get enough help because I had a late start. So if I don't want to take away from your campaigns, but if you know anybody wants to volunteer, we are looking for volunteers to help us to get back on track. So Arnie Levine for Mayor is my website. Thank you for your time, short and sweet, because I know you guys have been here for a while. But I promise I will make a difference in El Cajon, and this will be heard throughout the whole state of California, and hopefully the country. Thank you.
How many people are running for mayor?
There are one other candidate against me, and that's the incumbent. And guess what? I will like Bill Wells when he's retired in November. And the other thing is that what I want to do is raise the level of respect within politics, because we have to get it back to the standards that it used to be, where we would have debates and discussions. And I honor Joe Biden because he was able to reach across the aisle. And my quote, which somebody else could steal it, is my intention is to be the aisle, is to do what works. We're going to go for the solutions, no more tribal politics. That's my commitment. And actually, when we were on videos, I supported you because I heard somebody like, we cannot argue amongst ourselves. The only way we can have democracy in this country, and right now as we speak, it is being threatened. Unless the courts do what they're supposed to do, we almost lost democracy this year. So If we unite together and stop the bickering, we could raise the bar and do what we're supposed to do, make things happen. Thank you.
I am Mike Schaefer, and I am running for my second and last term on the Board of Equalization out of Sacramento. My district is huge. It's 10 million people. It's everybody south of LA. I've got everybody in San Bernardino, half of San Bernardino County. I've got all of Orange County, that's Disneyland. I've got all of Riverside County, Coachella Valley, all of us in San Diego County and Imperial County. I started out life as a San Diego City Councilman when I was 27 years of age, and I was pals with Henry Boney and a lot of the people in this part, the policemen that fought for La Mesa Scout. And then I was a big fan of the Top Shelf, which became, as you know, the Brigantine. And when we had the horrible riots a couple of years ago, and Trade Against Sam was devastated, as were some other businesses, I immediately sent a $100 check from my heart, from my own account, to help out, because I felt it was a duty of all of us to step up and help out the devastated, no matter where they were in my district. I enjoy the work of seeing that taxes are low, not high. I am a tax advocate, not a tax collector. Every 4 years, I get the same guy who works for me. He's in charge of the office in Los Angeles. He runs. I beat him back in 2018, and I'm going to beat him again this year. But I read that he had dropped by to say hello to you once, and I thought, oh my God, I've got to get out there and say hello to the group, because I often go to the Coronado Democratic Club, the Point Loma Democratic Club, and the La Jolla Democratic Club has Christmas parties. And I want you to know that I'm here, and I want to help you if I can. Will close and say, as I've been told we have to do, my name is Mike Schaefer, like be safer with Schaefer, and I'm running for re-election. I've done a good job as representing you on the Board of Equalization. I'm on every ballot in the Mesa. Thank you.
So, Tina, you don't have to introduce me. Good evening. I wanted to give you a little bit of information and then do a pitch. I serve on a subcommittee at the City Council right now, and the subcommittee has to do with distribution of the art money, total of $13 million the City of La Mesa got from the federal government, one of the COVID amounts of money. And I got to tell you, I serve on that subcommittee with Laura Lothian. And because she and I have to work together, and actually she and I do work together quite well, she's actually a pleasant person. However, her views on things are a bit different from mine. Which means that whatever we come up with is somewhat of a compromise between the both of us. That's the cost of having a Trump Republican on the City Council. The policies of the city shifted to the right. That was the cost of having Lord Lothian in office even for 1 year. We're talking about millions of dollars that could be better allocated to serve the people of La Mesa. That's the cost. We cannot afford that kind of cost on the City Council, nor on the school board, nor on the community college board. We cannot afford that. That's why I'm asking all of you to work hard to vote in the complete slate that the Democratic Party has put forward. We have good candidates this year. We have Rebecca MacRae, Tiffany, Brianna Coston. You heard both of them for the water board with Andrea, Beth. We have a complete slate for the City Council. Dr. A, who was a Republican, of course, and all that, is now a Democrat. He's on the Democratic slate. Now, what's that?
He was endorsed by the county party.
And he was endorsed by the county party. The job of the GO team is to push the slate from the Democratic Party. That is the job, and we need to do it hard. And one last bit, in case you don't get this message out. Everyone is watching all the elections. When we put in 3 Democrats on the council in La Mesa, when we put in 3 people on the school board, when we put in Matt for treasurer, when we put in Andrea, Beth, when we put in all these candidates, you know, and I forgot Debbie Justesen right here. When we put in these candidates, yes, people locally are going to notice that we're moving, that the Democratic Party is going forward, and that the craziness from the Republicans cannot prevail. We see it. But you know, other people see it too. The rest of the region sees it, the rest of the state sees it, the rest of the country knows it, and you can bet it's going to affect everything from reproductive rights to things going on in the Supreme Court, all of that. It all counts. All politics is local. We got to make sure our local wins show who we are and what the direction we want to go into. So get the vote out. That's what's going to count. We get the vote out, and the complete slate is voted in. All of our candidates can help each other, because when you go out and vote and campaign for yourself, please do that. But also mention, hey, there's a whole slate. We need everybody in. Otherwise, we're all helpless. So that's the message I just want to give. Let's do our job, get these Democrats elected, and hopefully we'll have things going better in this region and throughout this state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Victoria Brenica. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the founder of the Spring Valley Cleanup Crew. I'm a representative from East County BIPOC. I'm the vice chair of the Spring Valley Community Planning Group. I'm a member of my local Parks and Rec Board, and I'm running for re-election for the Spring Valley Community Planning Group. I've organized Spring Valley Earth Day in Spring Valley, just trying to get as many resources to my community. It's a very low income environmental justice community. So not just saying like, you need to be environmental, going there and saying like, hey, like LED light bulbs are gonna help, using metal straws and reusable utensils and giving that to folks for free, giving them the supplies, hosting tree planting events, and just giving back and working with the county to really advocate for our community. I've also held back to school drives in my community, having gone to Title I schools, being a student with learning disabilities, and having worked in our school district. I just want to pour as much into our schools and into our community because, I don't know, I think it's important to invest in. Planting trees, I've added that to our priority list on the Parks Board and the Planning Group. The county was supposed to plant 550 trees in our parks by this past May, and they only planted 47 or 37. Then at Earth Day, we planted 10, and then a few died over the weekend because of the heat wave. And those were goals that they set with the Climate Action Plan, and they had another meeting, like a Board of Supervisor meeting last Tuesday. And so just putting pressure on our elected officials, making sure, you know, we wouldn't have these extreme effects of the climate crisis if we had more trees in our area. Hosting restoration events in my community. We have an open space preserve on Dictionary Hill, but due to gentrification or the climate crisis, a lot of that wildlife is dying, and so just hosting cleanups, but also planting more native wildlife. And so I started this project behind the middle school I used to go to. It's called La Presa Middle School. Now it's called STEAM Academy, and it's right next to the Spring Valley Library and Kempton Elementary School. But just putting vegetables and herbs and a bunch of native plants, and the community is so happy. We also put it in a community fridge because we live in a food desert. But just showing the community that we can care for them, and we're all doing it together. It's not saving, like it's just we have each other's back. Hosting voter registration drives, trying to encourage more folks to get into civic engagement. I used to lead a climate action civic leadership program at San Diego High School, and I'm working with my Parks and Rec with Montevis and Mount Miguel, just trying to get more youth involved in politics, community cleanups. But I think the reason why I'm running is because it's very difficult living in an unincorporated area where you don't have a city council, you don't have a mayor, you don't have proper representation. You're in East County, most of your representatives do not represent you. And so just making sure that we have proper representation. So I myself am running, but please, you know, there's 7 people you can vote for. Please also vote for Scott Schaefer and Chris Pearson. We need as many Democrats in these seats as possible. I would love for Spring Valley to one day become a city. The next time I think that would be a possibility would be the next time we have a census, so that would be like 2030. And so I hope that by then we occupy as many seats Democrats, so that way the only people with a platform are people, and just making sure that, you know, when we get them in office, also supporting them, right? Like, I don't think it was right how people were treating Charday. And so after we elect people, we need to be going to their meetings and supporting them, helping them if they put something on the agenda. But it's very crucial that we don't just get people elected, that we get them re-elected, and that we make sure that their mental health is okay and everything, that we voted for them, but they're doing like a public service. And so just making sure that we're supporting them the entire way through. On our PLTO list, I added replacing the wood chips at one of our local parks. You know, I told you I started like a cleanup crew. We found shards of glass, needles, and cigarette butts on a playground. You know, I work with kids. It's not safe. Wood chips are not accessible if you have a wheelchair or if you use a walker, and a lot of kids are putting things in their mouth. And so for them to switch it out, at the last meeting they said it was $163,000. I don't think that's a lot of money, given like we have millions. And so I put that on the top of our priority list the past 2 years. I've written letters. My board is not very supportive. And so just trying to make sure that we get more people that are going to advocate for that. I started an ad hoc committee to get more community gardens in Spring Valley. We opened one up in May, and we're going to be opening up another one this year. Also added getting free little libraries in our parks, and having inclusive playground equipment for ADA and other disabilities. We're going to be voting on our next PLDO list, which is like how we want to prioritize spending our funding in October for both the Parks Board and the Planning Group. That list is going to be turned in November, so if any of you could come and just advocate for whatever injustices or whatever things you feel we could use in Spring Valley, just please come to that meeting and just voice your concern. We're always looking for more people. But yes, again, just please vote for myself, Victoria Brenica, for the Spring Valley Community Planning Group, and vote for Scott Schaefer and Chris Pearson, because we need as many Democrats in these seats as possible. Thank you so much.
I don't know if you can see that here. Well, I'm not Steve Houlihan, but I'm Steve for Steve Houlihan. I'll hold it. Oh, okay, great. Here, yeah, good idea. So anyway, 2 things, folks, real quick. Please try to come to this, the Blue Wave Tasting Fundraiser, Wine Works, on Saturday. Money's going to door hangers and Democratic candidates, good cause. The $60 gets you free hors d'oeuvres, 4 wine tasters, or 2 glasses of wine. Steve Houlihan, running against Daryl Issa. Okay, running against Daryl Issa. This is the biggie. Might be kind of an uphill climb, you could say, right? Needs everybody's help. He is endorsed by U.S. Senator Alex Padilla and U.S. Congressman Scott Peters and U.S. Congressman Mike Levin. Next week, he's going to get an auto dialer program. He has it already. It's coming next week from California Democratic Party. So this is going to be a big thing. But he needs a lot of folks' help to get him over the finish line. It's gearing up. Stay tuned. SteveHoulihan.com.
Okay, we're coming to the end, and Jean, come up with the 50-50, and somebody that doesn't have a horse in the race needs to pick this, because I have the winning ticket. I don't know if you guys know. Okay. Brenda's gonna come up with the bowl of tickets. Rosemont, will you watch my tickets for me? Your tickets are my tickets. They're my tickets. Steve, come on now. Do a drum roll. Okay. The winning number is 0215868. 0215868. No. Oh, we don't have a winner. Wins $80. I'm sorry, sir. What's your name? Bill. Bill. All right, let's hear it for Bill. I will see you not 4 weeks from tonight, but 4 weeks and 1 day from tonight. Next month only will be on a Thursday. And please, if you fell in love tonight with one of these candidates, and I hope you did, give them a call, sign up for walking a precinct with them. I'm sure you'll burn a lot of fat, because I sweated like a pig this weekend. So thank you for being here. I will see you next month. Stay cool and stay down. Thanks.